Hello viewers. Welcome to Seek Wisdom. In this video, we present you the 6 major fears that we face and how our actions are always guided by those fears and how these fears affect us. Also, we shall be covering on how to outwit these 6 ghosts of fear. This is taken from the famous book, Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. This covers a large portion in the book, however, we shall be summarizing the same. Hope you like it. Let's get started. To be prepared for Think and Grow Rich philosophy, we should have an understanding of 3 enemies. These are indecision, doubt and fear. Presence of any of this will never let the 6th sense to function. Analysis show that indecision crystallizes into doubt. These two blend and become fear. This blending process is slow and normally it happens without their presence being observed. To master an enemy, we must know its name, its habits, its abode. Do not be deceived by the habits of these subtle enemies. Sometimes they remain hidden in the subconscious mind, where they are difficult to locate and still more difficult to eradicate. There are 6 basic fears, with some combination of which every human being suffers at one time or another. Named in the order of their most common appearance, they are 1. The fear of poverty. 2. The fear of criticism. 3. The fear of ill health. 4. The fear of loss of love of someone. 5. The fear of old age. 6. The fear of death. All other fears are of minor importance. They can be grouped under these 6 headings. Fears are nothing more than states of mind. An individual can create nothing which he or she does not first conceive in the form of an impulse of thought. However, all human beings have the ability to completely control their own mind, and with this control, all individuals can open their minds to the thought impulses which derive from the brains of others, or else can close the doors tightly and admit only thought impulses of their own choice. Let's study them one by one. Fear of poverty. Fear of poverty is a state of mind, nothing else. But it is sufficient to destroy one's chances of achievement in any undertaking. It paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiative, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control impossible. It kills love and assassinates the finer emotions of the heart, discourages friendship, invites disaster in 100 forms, leads to sleeplessness, misery and unhappiness. It is the most destructive of the all 6 fears. Symptoms of this fear are indifference, indecision, doubt, worry, overcaution, procrastination. Next comes the fear of criticism. The fear of criticism takes on many forms, the majority of which are petty and trivial. The fear of criticism robs people of their initiative, destroys their power of imagination, limits their individuality, takes away their self-reliance, and does them damage in 100 other ways. Criticism is the one form of service of which everyone has too much. Criticism will plant fear in the human heart, or resentment, but it will not build love or affection. Symptoms of this fear are self-consciousness, lack of poise, weak personality, inferiority complex, extravagance, lack of initiative, lack of ambition. Next comes the fear of ill health. This fear may be traced to both physical and social heredity. As to its origin, it is closely associated with the causes of the fear of old age and the fear of death, because it leads us closely to the border of terrible worlds of which we know not, but concerning which we have been taught some discomforting stories. Also, certain unethical people engaged in the business of selling health have had not a little to do with keeping alive the fear of ill health. In this, we fear ill health because of the terrible pictures which have been planted in our mind of what may happen if death should overtake us. Symptoms of this fear are inappropriate autosuggestion, hypochondria, lack of exercise, susceptibility to illness, self-coddling, intemperance. Next is the fear of loss of love. Both men and women, therefore, have a biological and behavioral basis to fear the loss of love or mate companionship. Jealousy and other similar forms of neurosis thus grow out of human beings' inherited fear of the loss of security that the loss of love and companionship of another person represents. This fear is the most painful of all the 6 basic fears. It plays more havoc with the body and mind than any of the other basic fears, and it can lead to severe mental problems. Careful analysis has shown that women generally are more susceptible to the fear of loss of love than are men, because women through the ages have learned from experience that men, considered as a group, are polygamous by nature, that they are not to be trusted in the hands of rivals. Symptoms of the fear of loss of love are jealousy, fault-finding with friends, relatives and loved ones upon the slightest provocation or without any cause whatsoever, gambling. Next is the fear of old age. This fear grows out of 2 sources. First, the thought that old age may bring with it poverty. Secondly, and by thoughts arising from false and cruel teachings of the past, the possibility of ill health, which is more common as people grow older, is also a contributing cause of this common fear of old age. Eroticism also enters into the cause of the fear of old age, as no one cherishes the thought of diminishing sexual attraction and activity. Another contributing cause of the fear of old age is the possibility of loss of freedom and independence, as old age may bring with it the loss of both physical and economic freedom. The major symptoms of this fear are the tendency to slow down and develop an inferiority complex at the age of mental maturity, the habit of speaking apologetically, the habit of killing off the initiative. Last comes the fear of death. To some this is the cruelest of all the basic fears. The reason is obvious. In the majority of cases, the terrible pangs of fear associated with the thought of death may be charged directly to religious fanaticism. It can destroy interest in life and make happiness impossible. In truth, no one knows for certain what heaven or hell is like or in what sense either exists. This very lack of positive knowledge opens the door of people's minds to the charlatans so that they may enter and control those minds with their stock of legerdemain and various brands of pious fraud and trickery. Insane asylums have been filled with people who have gone mad because of the fear of death. The 6 basic fears become translated into a state of worry and anxiety. Fear of death is useless. Death will come no matter what anyone may think about it. Accept it as a necessity and pass the thought out of your mind. It must be a necessity or it would not come to all. Perhaps it is not as bad as it has been pictured. Relieve yourself forever of this fear by reaching a decision to accept death as an inescapable event. Regarding fear of poverty, we have to understand that we live in a world of overabundance of everything the heart could desire, with nothing standing between us and our desires except lack of a definite purpose and the plans that derive from it. Whip the fear of poverty by reaching a decision to get along with whatever wealth you can accumulate without worry. Put your foot upon the neck of the fear of criticism by reaching a decision not to worry about what other people think, do, or say. Eliminate the fear of old age by reaching a decision to accept it not as a handicap, but is a great blessing which carries with it wisdom, self-control, and understanding not known to youth. Acquit yourself of the fear of ill health by the decision to forget symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching a decision to get along without love if that is necessary. With this will come poise, peace of mind, and calmness of thought which will bring happiness. Those whose minds are filled with fear not only destroy their own chances of intelligent action, but they transmit these destructive vibrations to the minds of all who come into contact with them and destroy also their chances. In addition to the 6 basic fears, there is another evil by which people suffer. It constitutes the rich soil in which the seeds of failure grow abundantly. It is so subtle that its presence often is not detected. This is named as the susceptibility to negative influences. Once you have attained riches, a self-analysis to check presence of this susceptibility is very important. If you neglect this self-analysis, you will forfeit your right to attain the object of your desires. Without doubt, the most common weakness of all human beings is the habit of leaving their minds open to the negative influence of other people. This weakness is all the more damaging because most people do not recognize that they are cursed by it, and many who acknowledge it neglect or refuse to correct the evil until it becomes an uncontrollable part of their daily habits. To protect yourself against negative influences, whether of your own making or the result of the activities and thoughts of negative people around you, recognize that you have willpower and put it into constant use until it builds a wall of immunity against negative influences in your own mind. Recognize that you are, by nature, susceptible to all the 6 basic fears, and set up habits for the purpose of counteracting all these fears. You have absolute control over but one thing, and that is your thoughts. This is the most significant and inspiring of all known facts. It reflects the divine nature of humanity. This divine prerogative is the sole means by which you may control your own destiny. If you fail to control your own mind, you may be sure you will control nothing else. If you must be careless with your possessions, let it be in connection with material things. Your mind is your spiritual estate. Protect and use it with the care to which divine royalty is entitled. You were given willpower for this purpose. Mind control is the result of self-discipline and habit. You either control your mind or it controls you. There is no halfway compromise. The most practical of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. Here we shall wind up the video. If you like this, hit a like, share it with your friends. Subscribe to this channel for more such videos and hit bell icon to get notified about the latest updates. Be happy, be safe.